Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Sun Day Fun, and today we have a podcast about fanfiction. So, what do you think about fanfiction? First of all, I want to know your opinions about it. Do you get annoyed, or do you like it better than the original source? What's your opinion about it? Technically speaking, there are both advantages and disadvantages in fanfiction. It's not like it's bad, and it cannot also be said as good. And fanfiction pretty much falls in a gray area, if I have to say. Fanfiction is written due to writing practice. Most fans of anime or any other TV shows write fanfiction so that they can sort of to just test how good they can make plots. And fanfiction sort of makes it easier for them because they already understand what's in it, what's in the world. For example, borrowing from Naruto's world or someone else's world like Pokemon. So, technically speaking, they sort of have the idea about how the logic goes, and accordingly, they can apply the logic in the plot and the world. They don't have to think, which is the biggest advantage. Plus, another advantage fanfiction has is you can instantly get readers. Yeah, it won't take much time to gather readers because fanfiction is basically like borrowing plot from famous anime, and those anime already has a very big fan base. So definitely people read fan base at times because they probably aren't satisfied with some part of the plot, etc. And fanfiction sort of satisfies that hunger. So, for example, someone wanted that these two characters would have been pretty good in romantic relationships. So, a fanfiction writer made this. And well, here you go. You got readers because there were some people who would have wanted that, and also some curious readers checking it out. Why? Because they wanted that, and they sort of want to see in AU, like they're super fans technically, and they just want to see in AU or any other versions how the anime plays out and all. They want to see more of the anime or TV show, whatever. So that's how they gather readers. And the ones who write fanfictions are pretty passionate about it. Like they're fans. Fanfiction means you are a fan writing a fiction. So that's how it is. But in general terms, it is not really accepted officially, and there is a reason for that. You already know. So if I have to explain you about why it's not legally acceptable, I think you should know it. You shouldn't hate them. I mean, there's a reason why fanfictions aren't officially accepted. For example, if I tell you that you have a story written, a pretty good story, which is sort of like, let's just say you are the creator of Naruto. Now, if someone else, you put a lot of thought into creating the entire world, all the characters, everything is your creation, and someone else tries to copy that plot, right, literally, and they want to publish it and earn money out of it. So what does it mean? It means the effort is all yours, and what they did is just sort of alter the plot and earning out of your own characters, out of your own plot. Meaning you created the entire anime, you put your efforts into it, you put efforts into all the characters, and definitely, let me just say, the ones who are creating a story from the scratch can never make it perfect. And if someone else does, definitely they are gonna be pretty good in assisting them. Yeah, you can say fanfiction writers are assistants. They are sort of telling that if they would have done this stuff, it would have made it right. Fanfiction writers are basically like educators, I would say. They can educate by it, but you can't expect monetization from it. That's what fanfiction is for. Monetization means you are trying to earn money out of it. But no, what you're doing is basically telling the creators that You could have made it right. It could have been better. That's what you are telling them. And yeah, that's how it works mainly. The plot is their great, and I'd say fanfiction writers should always create the source. It's pretty important. Like for a creator, it's pretty respectable to get created, and they will obviously respect you if you do that. They can also see how they could improve. So basically, they can read fanfiction first of thinking, yeah, readers like this, readers want this to improve. So that's the healthy way to look at fanfiction actually, for improvements. And also for fanfiction writers, do it just for passion. If you want to monetize it, you can go for Patreon. It's actually a free, but again, it's not really that good to monetize search works, because technically what you're doing is just correcting it. So if you want to do it out of passion. That's all I would say. And it's not inherently bad to write it, but it's not good to monetize it. That's all I would say. And yeah, I basically don't prefer fanfiction for a reason that is. So why I don't prefer is, well, because I have to borrow someone else's characters, and I'm sort of more into freedom. I like freedom, so it feels like I'm relying on someone else, which is why I generally don't write fanfiction. I think the freedom is just gone. And plus, my own original world feels like, yes, it can be adapted someday, but fanfiction can never get adapted. It's just there for readers. That's right. And the fact is, there are many other fanfiction versions of the same story that you can get, which readers, it is pretty competitive. And let me just say, one fanfiction would be saying one thing, another fanfiction would be saying the other thing, and it will be pretty hard to connect the worlds together. But for me, if I write original fiction, you can technically get a world which is yours, and it cannot be altered by others. Others have other universes. For example, Naruto and One Piece can never be one. That's right, Naruto is one universe and One Piece is another one. That's how it basically works. So that's the important part of writing original fictions. Original fictions are harder to write because you have to make up all the plot. You have to think about the characters, and if you try writing a original fiction, you pretty much understand fan fiction writers. You'll understand that you'll be pretty positive of your work. Like if someone makes a fan fiction out of it and just says, well, I did all the work and I'm getting more popular, you'll definitely get pissed off. That's how it works. And exactly for that reason, they don't like monetizing fanfiction works, because that will technically deviate them from original. And fanfiction always has the potential to become better than the original, which is true in many cases. But again, it's just like you are just a critic analyzing a story and pointing out all the flaws and just rewriting it to make it more better. So that's how fanfiction is generally seen as. So technically, just look at it like this: you are just making a more polished version of someone's draft, which has already been pretty famous. So probably everyone's gonna go for your rather than the original authors. And I'm just taking this example, but yeah, for alternate universes and others, I know these parts could be pretty original, but even including other characters is considered infringement, and that's what leads to it classified as fanfiction. So yeah, that's what I would say. And as for original fiction, if you are really interested in, if you are really interested in creating original fiction, you will need to sort of alter the characteristics of the characters. What I mean by that is, for example, if you have a few characters, you will always see these tropes. Like there will be one guy who is just anti-hero in, also a bit antagonistic or a bit anti-hero type, or maybe a bit of like the bully. There are various types of characteristics that you can use to make your own characters, and you can also get inspirations from the anime. Some moves you can get inspiration. But yes, for every anime, every shows you watch, you can take inspirations from everywhere, and that's the fun of writing original fiction. You're making your own world by taking from every other world, and that's what is called original work. And it's full creativity, let me just say. And it would be way better to write an original fiction and maybe get just a few readers. You will feel more proud of it, let me just say, if you are able to manage that. Yes, you can definitely start with fanfiction. It's a pretty good point to, for beginners, I'd say fanfiction is a pretty good way to start if you're not confident about your skills. Fanfiction can immediately grab an audience for you, which means if you are writing original fiction, then you will still have a small but manageable audience size, which can help. And if your original fiction gets some traction, you will find a joy. Actual joy is in original, that's what I would say, compared to fanfiction. Because I technically feel like that, and technically speaking, I myself imagined fanfictions of Pokemon, and let me just say I used to think if the ones I imagined, like I sort of imagined the Kanto version, like for example Kanto, but it was sort of like the demonic version of Kanto, sort of, and we had some demons alongside Pokemon, etc., etc., and the villains were almost the same except with some dark twists. I previously used to think if it would be considered original, but technically if Pokemons are involved, it's obviously considered fanfiction. But technically speaking, if I think about it, it obviously looked pretty original to me, but in general, it's not. That's right, and let me just say, I myself imagined alternate universes about Pokemon and all, so for that reason I'm saying it's not really bad to write fanfiction. It's very passionate. I mean, it has passion in it, I can say, due to my experience. But I never wrote one. I always try to go with original fictions. So yeah, it's all up to you. At the end of the day, it's all up to preferences, what you like and all. So anyways, if you like the video, be sure to share it and maybe show some love in the comment section, because comment sections are getting cold nowadays, and maybe with some likes it will feel a bit warm, because without that I am not able to know if you are even watching the video. So it's pretty important. Basically, I'm not asking you to subscribe, but definitely comments and share and likes would mean a lot. Anyways, thanks, and hope to see you all in the next video.